Hello, YouTube. Good morning. I'm back with Think and Grow Rich. I am going to be reading page 61. Even though we left off on page 62, I just wanted to go back a little bit and recap what we were reading originally. It's a beautiful day. I hope you had a nice holiday, and let's continue. When I planted in his mind the desire to hear and talk and live as a normal person, there went with that impulse some strange influence, which caused nature to become bridge builder and span the gulf of silence between his brain and the outer world, by some means which the keenest medical specialists have not been able to interpret. It would be sacrilege for me to even conjecture as to how nature performed this miracle. Yeah, God is amazing. It would be unforgivable if I neglected to tell the world as much as I know of the humble part I assumed in the strange experience. It is my duty and a privilege to say I believe. So this is page 61, and this is the bottom paragraph. And not without reason that nothing is impossible to the person who backs desire with enduring faith. So desire and faith. And that's, I believe, is the same for all of us depending on what we desire, right? Verily, a burning desire has devious ways of transmuting itself into the physical equivalent. Blair desired normal hearing. Now he has it. He was born with a handicap, which might easily have sent one with a less defined desire to the street with a bundle of pencils and a tin cup. The handicap now promises to serve as the medium by which he will render useful service to many millions of hard of hearing, also to give him useful employment at adequate financial compensation the remainder of his life. The little white lies I planted in his mind when he was a child by leading him to believe his affliction would become a great asset, which he could capitalize, has justified itself. Verily, there is nothing right or wrong, which belief plus burning desire cannot make real. These qualities are free to everyone. In all my experience in dealing with men and women who had personal problems, I never handled a case which more definitely demonstrates the power of desire. Authors sometimes make the mistake of writing of subjects of which they have but superficial or very elementary knowledge. It has been my good fortune to have had the privilege of testing the soundness of the power of desire through the afflictions of my own son. Perhaps it was providential that the experience came as it did, for surely no one is better prepared than he to serve as an example of what happens when desire is put to the test. If Mother Nature bends to the will of desire, it is logical that mere men can defeat a burning desire. Strange and imponderable is the power of the human mind. We do not understand the method by which it uses every circumstance, every individual, every physical thing within its reach, as a means of transmuting desire into its physical counterpart. Perhaps science will uncover the secret. I planted in my son's mind the desire to hear and to speak as any normal person hears and speaks. That desire has now become a reality. I planted in his mind the desire to convert his greatest handicap into his greatest asset. That desire has been realized. The modus operandi by which this astounding result was achieved is not hard to describe. It consisted of 3 very definite facts. First, I mixed it with faith, with the desire for normal hearing, which I passed on to my son. Second, I communicated my desire to him in every conceivable way, through persistence and continuous effort over a period of years. Third, he believed me. As this chapter was being completed, news came of the death of Mimi Schumann Hank. One short paragraph in the New Dispatch gives the clue to this unusual woman's stupendous success as a singer. I quote the paragraph because the clue it contains is none other than desire. Early in her career, Mimi Schumann Hank visited the director of Vienna Court Opera, or have him test her voice, but he did not test it. After taking one look at the awkward and poorly dressed girl, page 64, he exclaimed, none too gently, with such a face and with no personality at all, "How can you ever expect to succeed in opera, my good child? Give up the idea. Buy a sewing machine and go to work. You can never be a singer." Never is a long time. The director of Vienna Court Opera knew much about the technique of singing. He knew little about the power of desire when it assumes the proportion of an obsession. If he had known more of that power, he would not have made the mistake of condemning genius without giving it an opportunity. Several years ago, one of my business associates became ill. He became worse as time went on and finally was taken to the hospital for an operation. Just before he was wheeled into the operating room, I took a look at him and wondered how anyone as thin and emaciated as he could possibly go through a major operation successfully. The doctor warned me that there was little, if any, chance of my ever seeing him alive again. But that was the doctor's opinion. It was not the opinion of the patient. Just before he was wheeled away, he whispered feebly, "Do not be disturbed, Chief. I will be out of here in a few days." The attending nurse looked at me with pity, but the patient did not come through safely. After it was all over, his physician said, nothing but his own desire to live saved him. He never would have pulled through if he had not refused to accept the possibility of death. I believe in the power of desire, backed by faith, because I have seen the power lift men from lowly beginnings to places of power and wealth. I have seen it rob the grave of its victims. I have seen it serve as the medium by which men staged a comeback after having been defeated in 100 different ways. I have seen it provide my own son with a normal, happy, successful life, despite the way he was born. Despite nature's having sent him into this world without ears, despite the fact that he was born without ears. How can one harness and use the power of desire? This has been answered through this. and the subsequent chapters of this book, this message is going out to the world at the end of the longest and perhaps the most devastating depression America has ever known. It is reasonable to presume that the message may come to the attention of many who have been wounded by the depression. Those have lost their fortunes, others have lost their positions in great numbers, who must reorganize their plans and stage a comeback. To all these, I wish to convey the thought that all achievement, no matter what may be in nature or its purpose, must begin with an intense burning desire for something definite. Through some strange and powerful principle of mental chemistry, which she has never divulged, nature wraps up in the impulse of strong desire, that something which recognizes no such word as impossible and accepts no such reality as failure. I like reading this book because I was raised to believe and to have faith. And I have a lot of faith in God. But there are a lot of things in life that I believe there's more to it. Yeah. So, with that said, today's a beautiful day. And keep faithful to your dreams, because it's possible. Whatever it is that you want to accomplish in this life, or whatever it is that you want, you can have it. Ask, and it shall be given. Knock, and the door shall be open. Why not? If you're equipped to walk through that door, why not? Anyway, keep your faith strong. Know that your dream is like not even a couple of steps away. It could come to you any minute. And keep reaching for it. Thank you. I'll read to you soon. Bye.